the Ohio State Buckeyes will be in the college football playoff. We don't know yet who they're going to play. We don't exactly know where they're going to play, but we know they are going to play. After beating Penn State, Michigan, and Wisconsin to end this season, it got harder at the end because they played the better teams at the end. But walking away from Indianapolis here, Nathan, what are you walking away and saying, about the Buckeyes as they prepare for the playoff?
Well, the new thing that I thought was a problem, I know there's an obvious answer a lot of people would say, but the new thing I thought was a problem was tackling. I thought this team has tackled really well all season. You've never really had a game where there's been an abundance of tackling problems. And I thought tonight there were, I can count probably 4 or 5 obvious ones off the top of my head where starting veteran defenders on this team went too high and ended up either a guy not even really hindering his running at all, or definitely letting him get additional yards because they couldn't take him down. It was definitely, I thought, the worst tackling game of the season for Ohio State. I want to give Wisconsin some credit because I think they came out and schemed well and attacked well. They gave Jonathan Taylor some holes, and once you give him a head of steam, he's obviously a hard guy to take down. But that did concern me. I thought maybe this defense took a step back in the first half as far as just some of its just being sound and some fundamental stuff. Obviously, they corrected things going in the half, coming out of halftime. I think what Taylor had 13 yards, something like that in the second half. I mean, they shut him down in the second half. So it wasn't, again, as we've seen this defense do before, problem early, correction, dominance. But at some point, you're going to be play better teams in Wisconsin in these next 2 games if you play in 2 more games, and they may not give you that kind of opening.
All right, tackling for Nathan. Steven.
So they're going to play elite quarterbacks from now on. And Michigan and now Wisconsin have kind of showed some things that you've always talked about with Ohio State. How do you beat Ohio State? Especially when you got somebody like Chase Young. Quick hits, these inside routes. And Michigan did it in the first half. Wisconsin did it today in the first half as well. Well, Shea Patterson's an okay quarterback, and Jack Cohn's a quarterback. So now you're going to play elite-level quarterbacks who can do that time and time and time again. So what happens when you neutralize Chase Young because you're putting 2 and 3 guys on him consistently, and now you're hitting these cornerbacks with these inside routes, and they're constantly getting them on, and they're driving you up the field, and you add that to the tackling issue. I think these last 2 teams have exposed some things that may be wrong with this defense, that when you have an elite quarterback with an elite offense, you can expose it for an entire game.
So the one thing about both those points is that they got better, right? They tackled better in the second half. Wisconsin didn't score in the second half. Yeah. So this video is like, what's wrong with the number one or number two undefeated team in the country that's been kicking everybody's butt? What's wrong with them? I mean, it's the whole thing of the video. It's not like they're just being negative. I think a lot of it, though, almost every time we do something like this, of like, oh, watch the Buckeyes, maybe this, really it's something that happens early that they fix in the second half. And if anything had happened for a full game, you'd really be like antennas up. Right. So, like, I think we have to take all of this with that of, like, they do find a way to fix it. And I talked to Jeff Hafley really quickly in the locker room, and Jeff Hafley all season has talked to us about you don't make halftime adjustments, you make adjustments all the time, series to series. And I was like, hey, you really taught us that you don't have to make halftime adjustments. He was like, well, we really had to do some stuff at halftime this game. So it's like they really did get in there and figure it out. Paul Chryst had a great plan to face this Ohio State defense. I'll throw in the offensive line gave some stuff up. And Fields did hold on to the ball a little bit too much sometimes. They also were on him really quick sometimes. And so, again, everything's jumping a level. I think Ohio State has as good of a chance to win the national title as any of the 4 teams that are going to be in it. I think when the odds come out, when the playoff is set, I think they might be the favorite. Or I think LSU, Clemson, Ohio State will all be basically tied as the favorite. But everything's ramping up. The quarterbacks are going to be better. The running backs and the guys who are trying to tackle are going to be better. The pass rushers are going to be better. So they have to be better. The only thing is that I would take away, they get better in the second half. They can't get so far down in the first half that when they figure it out in the second half, it's too late. Because against Michigan, against Wisconsin, they had time. Yeah. If Trevor Lawrence figures something out and you're losing to Clemson 24-3 at halftime, it might not matter if you figure it out in the second half. So whatever they're doing wrong early, they have to minimize the damage of that because they overcame a 2-touchdown deficit against Wisconsin. That will be harder to do against whoever is next. Nathan, Stephen, Doug, try the text, read the stories. Go to cleveland.com/OSU for more information because the playoff is coming, and we're going to be writing about it.